We've done this so many times, and I've done it so many times away from football. And so I know what's happening. I had a guy come to my church and tried to explain why you should get a liberal arts education before you get your attorney or doctorate or engineer degree. You should learn about life. And he said, picture a guy that's had a wreck. He's not educated. He almost severs his hand. Blood's going everywhere. And he breaks and runs for the woods and gets up in there and either dies of
Rebels 10-10 on the season, 6-3 on the year. Winners of 3 of their last 4, taking on Brebeuf, who is 14-6 and has wrapped up the Circle City Conference Championship for the 2nd straight year. It's a great rivalry game, Henry, and a great game for both of these teams as a tune-up into the sectional play, which starts next week.
Yeah, it's a great atmosphere for basketball as well. I think we were all a little skeptical of this whole new gym idea when it first came into mind, but I think that the Rebels have really adapted this as their new home, and they're beginning to play like it too.
Well, the Rebels taking on Brebeuf Jesuit. Both of these teams coming into the game off of wins. Rebels winning here, a very impressive home win on Saturday night against Franklin Central, 70-61. Meanwhile, Heritage Christian won last Saturday as well on their senior night, or Brebeuf Jesuit, I should say, winning 61-21. Well, as we do before each and every game, we caught up with Rebel head coach Michael Watts to get his thoughts on the matchup tonight, as well as the game on Saturday night over Franklin Central. Here was that conversation. We're here with Rebels head coach Michael Watts. Rebels at home tonight, taking on Brebeuf Jesuit. Senior night, final game of the regular season. Before we get into tonight's matchup, let's go back to last week and close out the week with a very impressive 9-point win over Franklin Central here on Saturday night in front of a great crowd. As you had a chance to look at the tape, Coach, what were some of the things that you liked about your team, especially in that second half when you had to fight off a rally by the Flashes?
Yeah, just thought that our offense flowed pretty well. We continue to score. 70 points isn't something that we accomplish a lot. So I just felt like we continued to score, which was good to kind of keep them at bay after some early offensive rebounds that we gave up. Really, in the first 3 or 4 possessions, I thought we took care of that and guarded them pretty well and rebounded the first possession. And really, for a team pretty athletic, I thought we handled the ball and didn't turn it over very much as well.
Final home game tonight for your 4 seniors. How have these guys progressed through your program here over the last 4 years? What are the things? What are you going to take away from this group?
Yeah, I think the growth that they've made. From a good freshman year to a good JV year. Kind of struggled last year. We've been on them pretty good just because we know what they can accomplish, and we're starting to see those things here late in the year, here after the turn of the calendar, that a lot of those guys, whether it's Danny or Aiden's aggressiveness, Nick making a bunch of shots, Chuck can do a bunch of things for us. So I just think their willingness to be coached and their growth over 4 years is what I'll remember.
Brebeuf, the opponent tonight, they've already clinched the conference title. They did that last Friday night at Heritage Christian, but they come in 14-6. Certainly, after beating a team with Franklin Central's resume and pedigree, your team has to be very confident about coming into tonight's matchup. What do you see for as keys?
Yeah, a lot of confidence, a lot of momentum heading the right way. I think we got to take care of Jay Higgins. He can play 1 through 4, going to Iowa to play football. Just a big, strong kid. We can't let him get us into foul trouble. Billy Smith on the perimeter is a really good shooter, and they have some size underneath. So we got to take care of all that. And, again, we need to continue to keep scoring. I know it's simplistic, but, I think you had in your notes 55% the last 3 games, 50% the last 3 games. Certainly would help if that continues.
Higgins kind of a rare player in that he's got a football body, 6'1", but he's 225. He handles the ball out front. When you've got somebody that physically strong that's going to handle the ball a lot, how do you contain that? Do you send doubles? Do you funnel him a certain way?
Well, he does like to go left shoulder, go to his right. I think we just can't parade him to the free throw line and get ourselves in foul trouble in that sense. But, I think we just control him, keep him in front of us, not let him drive and kick to shooters, and try and get the first rebound each time.
Rebels taking on Brebeuf Jesuit tonight, final home game of the 1920 season. Good luck tonight, Coach.
Thanks, Rob.
That's Rebels head coach Michael Watts. We're back after this on the Ascension St. Vincent Rebel Media Network. Rob Brown, Henry Meinerding back with you at the Ascension St. Vincent Gymnasium. Roncalli's Rebels taking on Brebeuf Jesuit. This is the, let's take a look at the all-time series between these two programs. Brebeuf leads the all-time series 37-21. Rebels have won 14 of the 25 games played at Roncalli. Of course, this is the first time these two programs have played here in the Ascension St. Vincent Gymnasium. But the home team, interestingly enough, the home team has won each of the last 8 games. So that bodes well for the Rebels, with them being the home team tonight. Since the 26-06-07 season, the Rebels have won 11 out of 17. The last time Brebeuf won at Roncalli, you have to go all the way back to December 20th of 2002. That was a 49-42 Brebeuf win at the Woodshed. So that bodes well. Last year, Brebeuf won on its home court 42-39. Rebels had a lead with a minute and change to go, but Brebeuf with a 4-point possession took the lead for good and held the Rebels off. Roncalli had a couple shots late to tie the game, but could not find the mark. So with that as our backdrop, a couple other games of note. The only other Circle City Conference team in action tonight, Heritage Christian hosting Elwood. Some other games of interest, Ben Davis hosting Tech, New Pals at Greenwood, Tri-West is at Ritter, Franklin Central's at Perry Meridian, and Beech Grove is at Whiteland. Rebels will be opening sectional play on Tuesday night next week at Southport when they take on Pike. First time those two programs have ever met in postseason play. Meanwhile, Brebeuf opens its sectional play on Tuesday night against Guerin Catholic. That's a deep sectional with Chitards in that sectional as well. That will be played at Shortridge. Let's turn our attention to Henry as what he has on his mind for tonight's keys to the game.
For the Rebels tonight, they need to limit Jay Higgins. He averages 15.4 points per game, and he's one of the best in the Circle City Conference, so stopping him would be big for the Rebels. They got to play on both ends as well. Roncalli is 1-6 when allowing 60-plus points. Got to play on both ends. Making free throws will also be an important key to this game. They played a crucial role in beating SC, and I think they will play a crucial role tonight.
Well, the Rebels certainly did their work at the foul line in that win over Franklin Central. As Henry mentioned, Rebels were 22 of 26 from the foul line in that game. The last 2 games, Rebels have shot 82%, 32 of 39. Henry, you look at that against Brebeuf shooting just 62% from the line on the season. That certainly gives you an encouraging feeling. If this game gets into a free throw contest, if it's tight down the stretch, that certainly would favor the Rebels.
Yeah, you got to stick with them throughout the game and force it into that type of situation if you're the Rebels. But you got to keep in mind that you got to play the rest of the ball game all the way up to the end. You got to play 3 quarters before the 4th.
Well, in the last 2 games, and this goes back to the tough loss, tough 1-point loss suffered last Tuesday night, 2 Tuesdays ago, I should say, at Greenfield Central. You and I had that game. That was a game the Rebels trailed by 15 points and came back to tie the game, only to see a foul call with 3.5 seconds to go that cost them the win. But in that ball game, the Rebels scored 25 points in the 4th quarter, and they scored 28 in the 4th against Franklin Central. So the Rebels' 2 of their 3 highest scoring 4th quarters have been the last 2. That certainly is a good sign if the Rebels find themselves again in a close game down the stretch. Yeah,
we've seen this team do it time and time over again where they're in these close game situations. And I think that free throws are going to be the one thing that's going to boost them. I mean, it was a 1-point game, and that's a situation where one free throw can make all the difference.
Well, as we mentioned, the Rebels and Brebeuf Jesuit have split the last 8 meetings. The home team has won all 8 games, and both of these teams wrapping up the regular season tonight. It's senior night for the Rebels, and all 4 seniors will be in the starting lineup. For one senior in particular, Chuck McGinsey, it'll be his first ever varsity start. But the Rebels, speaking of seniors, got great production out of Daniel Asher in that win over Franklin Central. That was a game Franklin Central comes in. They've got one of the better young centers in the area in Jalen Hooks, the 6'7 freshman. And Asher responded to that challenge with just his second double-double of the year, 21 points and 11 rebounds.
And we're going to have that same situation again today where Daniel's going to need to step up. Their tallest guy is standing at 6'5". He's a sophomore. Daniel's going to have to use what he's learned these past 4 years and put it to work.
Well, Evan Altman, you mentioned the 6'5 junior. He's the starting center for Brebeuf Jesuit. He averages 8 rebounds, one of the top. He might be the best. You talked about Jay Higgins being one of the top players in the Circle City Conference. Altman may be the best rebounder in the Circle City Conference. So Asher's going to have his hands full on that front tonight, and he has to stay out of foul trouble.
And it's something that Wans talks about all the time is how much rebounds means to the Rebels, and Daniel's definitely going to have to fill that role tonight.
Well, the rebounding is certainly critical for the Rebels at the defensive end. That allowed Franklin Central to both be in the game early and to get back in the game in the third quarter. And Brebeuf Jesuit just too good of a team to give them multiple possessions when you give up offensive rebounds. And a lot of times, and we see this in the college game all the time, the easiest and the best look at a three often comes off an offensive rebound when all the defenders are inside the lane.
That's true. I mean, it creates easy spacing. So a lot of times you have three guys standing around the arc that you can just pass it, and passing is quicker than people. So.
Well, and Billy
threes.
Smith, the 6'5 sophomore, he's a dangerous three-point shooter. He's hit 44, a team high for Brebeuf. He missed both of their wins last weekend due to an illness. He's back in the starting lineup tonight. He's got some size at 6'5". To give you some perspective, Smith has hit 44 threes. Anthony Donahue leads the Rebels with 27. And no other Rebel has hit more than 20 heading into tonight's game. So certainly Billy Smith, one of the top three-point shooters in the Circle City Conference. Rebels will have to find him at the arc tonight. Great crowd here tonight. The Rebels won the JV game earlier tonight in overtime, 48-47, to complete an outstanding JV season, one of the best JV seasons in program history. They finished with an 18-3 mark, did the JV Rebels, and again, that 48-47 win to close it out here tonight before we came on the air. We're going to take our second and final break here on the McDonald's pregame show. When we come back, we'll have the starting lineup and the tip for tonight's game. It's 10-10 Roncalli against 14-6 Brebeuf Jesuit to wrap up the regular season from the south side. And we have it next, coming up on the Ascension St. Vincent Rebel Media Network. tonight's national anthem provided by the Roncalli High School Pep Band. Let's take a look at the lineups for tonight, if you're ready, for the visitors from Brebeuf Jesuit. 12 in the scorebook. And they will go as follows. Senior Jay Higgins at the point guard, 6'1", a senior. Going to play football at Iowa next year, linebacker. He's their leading scorer, averaging 15.5 points a game. Second guard, Billy Smith, 6'5", the sophomore, averaging 13 points per game. Third guard is Austin Ezel, 6'1", a junior, averaging 7 points per game. On the front line, Alec Bevelheimer, 6'3", a senior, averaging 3.5 points per game. And Evan Altman, 6'5", a junior, averaging 10.4 points per game. Brebeuf Jesuit coached by Todd Howard. In his 6th season, 112-35 at Brebeuf Jesuit. 112-65, I should say. No, I'm sorry, 86-51 in his 6th season is Howard, the former IUPUI head coach, assisted by Barry Crute, Dan O'Sullivan, John Avery, and Ken Johnson. For the Rebels, 11 in the scorebook, and they'll start Nick Spearing, the 6'1" senior, averaging 2 points per game. Chuck McGinsey gets his first varsity start. He's a 6'2" senior, averaging 1 point per game. Aiden Looney, 6'3", the senior, averaging 7 points per game. The only non-senior in the starting lineup, Anthony Donahue, 6'2", the junior, averaging a team-high 11.6 per game. And Daniel Asher in the middle, 6'7", the senior, averaging 11 points per game. Michael Wantz, the head coach, in his 18th season. Winningest coach in Roncalli history, 256 and 144 his record. He is 12-11 against Brebeuf Jesuit, assisted by Ian Brown, John Hasty. Tonight's officials, a veteran crew. Matt Weldley's our crew chief, out there with Sean Harmon and Joe Clayton. Rebels in the home whites with the royal blue script Rebels and the red numerals, and the royal blue and red trim. Brebeuf Jesuit in the traveling maroons, the gold letters and numerals, and the gold trim. It's Altman and Asher to jump it up. Rebels going left to right, away from their bench. Back tap is controlled by the Rebels, and we're underway. Happy you're with us on the final Friday night of February. Spearing's at the point, played by Smith. Goes to the wing, McGinsey. Out front, on the left side, Looney. Curling off the screen, Donahue pops out topside to get it, played by Ezel. Drives down the left side of the lane, cut off on his drive. Ball swung back to Looney. Right at the top of the key. Over to McGinsey. Chuck, foul line jumper, open off the back of the rim. Took an extra hop, and it's rebounded by Higgins.
And we saw a lot of paint pressure there by Brebeuf. No open buckets in the paint for the Rebels.
Smith on the wing. Ezel thought about a three. He's 14 out of 27 of 100 from the three-point arc. Takes a lot of threes, but shooting just 27%. Bevelheimer down to Altman in deep. He's doubled. No space to shoot, back out to Ezel. They waited too long.
Yeah, and a good job by the Rebels forcing that one out. Maybe a dangerous situation for Daniel.
Higgins picked up his dribble. Gives to Ezel. He fades away on Donahue. His shot rolls off the rim. It's tapped loose, and Bevelheimer's first to it. Possession continues. Smith in the corner for three. Got it. We talked about that. 3-pointers off of offensive rebounds, and Billy Smith cans the three, his 45th of the year. And Brebeuf Jesuit on the board early. 3-0. McGinsey finds Asher at the foul line. Daniel backs it out, didn't like what he saw. Donahue, a long three for the tie. Off the back of the rim. Rebound Asher, took it away from Bevelheimer, missed the putback, and Altman clears.
And that one just took the wrong spin off the glass for Daniel.
He had the size mismatch there against Bevelheimer. Altman in the right corner, back out to Smith. He crosses up on Spearing. Nick poked it free. And Ezel resets out between the circles. Higgins. Bevelheimer down to Altman in low. Works by Asher and flipped it in with a right hand. Timeout called as Ezel's shoe is untied, but Altman flips it in. And the Braves off to a 5-0 start 2 minutes into this one.
And he was just able to turn his body and get around the bucket quicker than Asher was able to defend it. Maybe a good job by Daniel from backing off, or else it might have sent Altman to the line.
5-0 the score. Rebels 0 for 3 from the field early. Deep catch by Asher, wheels on Altman, flipped it up too strong with a jump hook. And Higgins brings it the other way for the Braves. Bevelheimer in the corner, Ezel. Smith drives on Spearing. Higgins not really a three-point shooter. He's hit 13. Jumps one up out there. It nicks the front of the rim. And McGinty has it batted away by Bevelheimer on the baseline. Back to the Rebels. Great crowd here tonight for the final home game of the season.
I was about to say, it's got to be the first time that I've seen the student section fully packed.
Student section is no vacancies.
Yeah, there's no room
on the baseline to our left. Rebels trail 5-0. McGinty doubled. Now Donahue with it. Asher. Double team. Jump hook up and in over two defenders.
Yeah, it's a tough shot right there.
They send a second defender, and Daniel flips in a jump hook from 8. First Rebel points. Felmuth at the scorer's table. Ezel crosses up Looney. Finds Bevelheimer down the baseline, and he shoulders into McGinty and puts it up and in.
And if you're Chuck McGinty on that one, you got to have the confidence to fall back and take the charge rather than just sit there with your arms down.
7-2. Donahue curling in the lane. Runner up, runner in off the feed from McGinty. First two for AD, and it's 7-4. Brebeuf Jesuit on top, nearing the halfway mark, first quarter. Lynch and Felmuth wait to step in for the Rebels. Smith, 3 behind the screen. That's wide left. And the rebound, Donahue can't track it down. It goes off the baseline. And they say last touched by Donahue. Ezel was there as well. Carson Lynch and Thomas Felmuth step in.
Wants doesn't like that call at all.
Couple juniors. McGinty and Spearing have a seat. Higgins, checked by Felmuth, who's just into the game, finds Altman on a back cut. He missed the shot. Asher got a piece, put back up and in.
Daniel did a good job getting the block, but wasn't able to reset in time, leading to an easy bucket for Brebeuf.
Yeah, oftentimes when you get a block shot, Donahue had it knocked free. Asher foul line jumper up and out. Rebounded by Bevelheimer.
Got robbed.
Bevelheimer drives on Looney. Shovels on the baseline to Altman. Back out to Higgins. 9-4, 3:40 to go, first quarter. Rebels trail by 5. Higgins drives on Felmuth. Thomas, great defense straight up, and a foul is called. Higgins shoots 2.
I don't know about that one.
Felmuth's foul, his first. Team's first one for either team, and Jay Higgins steps to the line. 68% free throw shooter on the year. Higgins spins the basketball, taking his time. First one on the way, short, way short. Shooting right into that Rebel student section to our left at the east end of the gym.
And that's a good sign because you don't want a guy like this to get going early.
He shoots a ton of free throws, 117 attempts in 20 games. That's a truckload. Hits the second. By comparison, Donahue is the Rebel leader in free throw attempts with 68. 10-4, the Braves have their biggest lead of the night, 6. 3:28 left in period number 1 from Roncalli in the regular season finale. Asher left arc, looks for a cutter, finds Lynch. Dribble handoff to Felmuth. Foul line pull up and too strong. Rebound, Asher takes it away out of a double team. He's in low on Altman, tries an up and under, and he's bumped. Matt Weldley says Altman got him with a knee. That's Altman's first foul and the team's first. Baseline right inbound for the Rebels under the hoop. It's Lynch on the trigger. Finds Donahue right corner. Down to Asher in the right block. Nice back cut. Donahue stripped on the way up, out of bounds off of Donahue. Goes back to the Braves.
And I don't think that was the right option there. There were plenty of options around the arc, and that play just needed to be kicked out.
Smith, hand to Bevelheimer. Higgins out between the circles. Gets a high screen from Altman. Fires to Ezel, left arc. Bevelheimer is not a three-point shooter. Drives Looney to the bucket, put it up, no good. Drew a foul on the way and shoots 2. First foul on Looney. Second on Roncalli. Bevelheimer shoots 2. He's a 43% free throw shooter. You can make the case that this is Bevelheimer's third sport. An all-conference soccer player. Also the punter on the football team. Free throw shot is way short. Jaden McMullen steps in, 5'10 senior for Brebeuf. Bevelheimer's older brother, Drew, is the kicker at Butler.
Got a lot of athletics in that family.
Missed them both, and Looney has the rebound. But they're kicking oriented if you didn't pick up on that. 10-4, Rebels down 6. 2:40 to go, first quarter. Lynch on the right side has the ISO. Instead, back to Donahue. He drives on Smith to the bucket, flipped it up too strong, and Altman has the rebound.
On the bright side of things, they are getting shots up.
Higgins drive and leave in the corner, McMullen. Brings it back out against Lynch. Carson plays Higgins on a switch. Top side. 2:15 to go here in the quarter. Rebels have managed just 4 points here in the first. Bevelheimer in deep. Altman lost the ball. It's a tie-up on the floor between Felmuth and Altman. It stays at the Brebeuf end as the arrow favors the Braves.
They got the noisemakers right there, right behind him as he's inbounding this.
10-4 the score, Rebels down 6. 2:05 left in the first period. Smith drives on Donahue, dumps to Altman at the rim, lays it in.
And the Rebels didn't look ready on that defensive play. They looked all out of place.
Altman has 6. Micah wants a timeout, 30-second timeout. 30-second timeout will stay here. 1:57 left here in the first quarter. Roncalli trails on the Beck Service Center scoreboard, 12-4.
At Ortho Indy, their mission is to provide the highest quality comprehensive bone, joint, spine, and muscle care to patients throughout the Midwest, the United States, and around the world. From diagnosis to recovery, their team is ready to get you back in action. Choose Ortho Indy to be your official orthopedic provider.
Well, we're also just past the top of the hour, so before we continue here after this Rebel timeout, let's pause quickly for this station identification, reminding you you're listening to Roncalli Rebels basketball on the Ascension St. Vincent Rebel Media Network. Rob Brown, Henry Meinerding back with you. 1:50 to go, first quarter. From Roncalli, Rebels down 12-4. Donahue, lob into Asher. Too many defenders down there. And the Braves poke it away. Here comes Higgins. Now Smith with it. Higgins right arc. Looking inside, instead reverses to McMullen. He bounced to Altman on the baseline, wasn't ready for it. Errant pass stolen by Lynch. Carson finds Looney trailing. Right side to Felmuth. Thomas turns the corner. Pull up, foul line jumper too strong. Rebound is knocked free and run down at the arc by Looney. Cross-court skip is thrown away. Right to Smith. 2-on-3. McMullen steps into a trailing 3 that's way long. And the rebound picked up off the floor by Felmuth. Finds Donahue in the right corner. Inside a minute to go, first quarter. Rebels trail 12-4. Donahue picked up his dribble. Bounced to Asher on the right baseline. Daniel down the baseline. Reverse layup is missed. Got his own rebound. Put it up too strong. No. Knocked to the floor. Picked up by Donahue on the loose ball. And the Rebels keep the possession alive. But, man, Asher's had so many looks in deep. Lynch, stop and go drive. Shot blocked off the baseline. And it goes back to their stage with the Rebels. Bevelheimer took a shot right in the midsection after that block shot. He heads right to the bench. And Ezel returns. 12-4, 30 seconds to go here in the quarter. Rebels down 8. Really struggled on the offensive end. Asher feels his way against the double, turned hooks, missed the shot too strong, but he drew a foul and shoots 2 with 20 and 7/10 to go.
And he's finally going to get some payment for his hard work down low here if he can make one of these.
That's Altman's second foul. Asher shoots 2. Boy, Daniel has had so many good looks in deep, just has not been able to get a roll. Daniel in and out on the first free throw. These are the first Rebel attempts of the night. 20 and 7/10 seconds left in the first quarter. Rebels down 8. Second one up, second one in. Asher has 3 of the Rebel 5. 12-4. Rebels have never led in the first quarter.
You see that free throw there, and you hope that the Rebels can use that as some motivation to get going here. Only 5 points here in the first quarter.
10 seconds to go in the quarter. McMullen, stop and go drive on Lynch to the bucket, put it up and in. Rebels get it in quickly. Lynch, half court with 2, heave on the way, short, and that'll do it. So the Rebels score a season low, 5 points in the first quarter. Lowest first quarter out point of the season for the Rebels. Find themselves down 14-5. We'll step out, come right back. Second quarter around the bend after this on the Ascension St. Vincent Rebel Media Network. Rob Brown, Henry Meinerding back with you. Rebels trailing by 9. 14-5 the score. Brebeuf led by Evan Altman. He has 6 points, but he's on the bench with 2 fouls. Daniel Asher has 3 of the Rebel 5. Roncalli with the basketball to start the second quarter. Let's set the lineups for you. Matthew Babb is in for the first time. 6'3", the junior. Lynch, Felmuth, and Carson had the pass deflected, but they keep it. Matthew Babb in, Looney, Donahue, Lynch, and Felmuth. Felmuth at the elbow, cut off. Donahue, a long 3 out front. That's off the back of the rim, and it fell. Boy, that died on the back of the rim and fell down. I'm not sure how.
And you might think that friendly bounce is some kind of repayment for what the Rebels have had earlier with bad bounces.
Caught me off guard there, and Higgins throws an errant pass right into the Rebel bench. So Brebeuf begins this second quarter with McMullen, Higgins, Ezel, Smith, and Brendan Wood. First time we've seen him tonight, 6'4", sophomore. So Donahue's 3 opens the scoring for the Rebels. To start this second quarter, Roncalli down 6. Felmuth, top of the circle. Over to Donahue. Finds Looney right corner. Aiden. Out top to Lynch. Carson back to Looney. Picked up by Wood on a switch. Aiden goes to the baseline. Fall away jumper up and in. First 2 of the night for the senior, Aiden Looney.
And a beautiful move there. He lays a little bit of his body into him and has a chance to get the shot up. It's a classic move and it works every time.
Create just enough space. Quick 5-0 burst for the Rebels to start the quarter. Pulls them within 4. Smith, drive and leave it. Pass deflects to McMullen at the right arc. He drives Lynch into the paint, flips up a shot up and in the lane. McMullen, he averages 9 points off the bench. He has 4 already tonight. And it's 16-10, Rebels down 6. 6.5 minutes to go, first half. Felmuth, post bounce to Looney in the left block, feeling his way against the stronger Higgins. Aiden, out to Felmuth, fakes a 3, drives to the bucket, put it up in contact, no, and a foul call on Babb, trying to get the rebound. That's Babb's first and the team's third. (16-10) the score. 6:15 left in the second quarter. Higgins backs down Looney, puts up a tough shot, too strong from 8, rebounded by Babb.
And that's great defense. Clearly the smaller defender there. I mean, it's going to be tough to stop a guy in the post that's much bigger than you, so.
Felmuth turns the corner. Still has the dribble alive against Wood. Now he's in the lane. Runner up, runner in. Thomas Felmuth creating in the paint for his first 2.
And it's crazy what happens when you can make buckets. The whole entire energy of the game has seemed to shift here for the Rebels as now they're only down 4.
Rebels have scored 7 points in the first 2.5 minutes. They scored 5 in the entire first quarter, and Higgins double dribbles in the post against Babb's defense. Bevelheimer's back in after taking a shot in the midsection in the waning moments of the first quarter. He's in for Wood. So the Rebels, who found themselves down 9 at the end of the quarter, have the ball down 4.
A completely different shift here.
Yep, energy levels completely different. Donahue finds Looney at the foul line. Felmuth went for a back cut. The pass was too far. And thrown away, saved right to Higgins. Rebels back defensively. Higgins gives to McMullen. And he operates out front against Felmuth.
And that time around it worked, but a lot of times when you're saving the ball on the baseline, you don't want to throw it towards the middle.
Smith at the foul line, cut off on his drive. Down the baseline, McMullen, and he stepped out of bounds. Donahue forced him deep. Already the third turnover of the quarter for the Braves. Asher's return for Looney. This is one of the few times this year, Henry, where we've seen both bigs for the Rebels, Asher and Babb on the floor at the same time.
And with only 2 threes hitting this game, we can already see that this game is going to be a post game, so maybe the right move there by coach. We'll see how it works.
Especially with Altman on the bench with 2 fouls. Asher, deep catch against Bevelheimer. Turns, shoots, fouled. Bevelheimer just not big enough at 6'1".
And something that I realized on that play is that with having 2 big guys in, it spaces out the paint, even though it's a small area. With having Babb on one side and Daniel on the other, Brebeuf has to guard 2 different guys that are tall.
Asher shoots 2. He's 1 for 2 tonight. First one up, first one in. So the Rebels, as Henry mentioned, a completely different offensive energy in this second quarter. Have chipped to within 3 after trailing by 9. Asher can make it 2, and he does. 5 points for Daniel to lead the way. He and Donahue both have 5. It's a 2-point game. Rebels have outscored the Braves 9-2 in the first 3 minutes and change of this second quarter. Higgins, Ezel left side, drives on Felmuth, no space. Back out top, Higgins, checked by Babb. See if the Rebels switch that up. McMullen comes to get it left side, gets a high screen, forced out front. Higgins, hand checked by Babb on his way to the goal. Second foul on Matthew. Team's foul 4th.
And that's what happens when the defender isn't as quick as the guy on offense. A lot of times you fall behind as far as the pace goes, and you have to use your hands to play defense instead of just your feet.
Ezel. Higgins left the lane in the corner, McMullen. Back to Higgins, straight away. Higgins at point forward. 6'1", 225. Drives on Babb, takes him right to the rim, and picks up Babb's 3rd foul. Babb, just as you mentioned, Henry, he's just not quick enough to play Higgins. So Higgins shoots 2 more. He's 1 for 2 so far tonight. 4:06 left here in the first half. Brebeuf leads 16-14. Higgins, deep breath, free throw up, in and out. We talked about free throw shooting. The Braves, 62% as a team. So far, 1 for 5.
And a lot of times I feel like we curse that over here. The announcers curse.
Oh, it's a real thing. Higgins splits the pair as he did in the first quarter. 17-14. Aiden Looney has returned as Babb has a seat with 3 fouls. Halfway through the second quarter, Rebels down 3. Right side, Felmuth. Down to Looney in the right block against Higgins. Backs him in. Fades, shoots, hangs, and scores. Well, Higgins certainly has the strength advantage in that matchup, but Looney has the elevation matchup
And
advantage.
I always find it fun to watch when guys can just float in the air like that and still manage to pull off a jump shot.
Higgins, played by Asher on a switch. Rebels within 1. McMullen between the circles. Back to Higgins on the wing. Rebels switch that back up. Higgins in the corner, Bevelheimer. He backs in on Looney. Spins to the baseline, put it up too strong. Rebound is tapped loose, picked up by Felmuth. Thomas goes behind the back in the midcourt traffic. Pull up foul line jumper, got it, the Rebels have the lead.
And what an impressive string here from the Rebels. We saw on that end, Aiden Looney playing great defense, and on this end, Felmuth got the behind the back move, and it was just wonderful.
That's become his patented shot, that pull up, that hard pull up from the foul line. Rebels have come all the way back from 9 down. Higgins a hard drive to the bucket. He put it up and in. That lead is short-lived. As the Braves back on top, 19-18, Higgins' first field goal of the night. Felmuth to the foul line against Ezel. Backing, and he's hand-checked and fouled as he took it to the corner. Todd Howard wanted an offensive foul on Felmuth. Instead, It's a foul on Austin Ezel.
One thing I've noticed here in the second quarter is that the Rebels are doing a much better job of taking it to the post and forcing fouls.
First foul on Ezel, fourth on the Braves. Each team with fouls to give. Looney left side ISO'd against Higgins. Cross-court skip to Lynch. Carson, three for the lead. He missed it. And rebounded by Higgins. Carson has yet to make a three this year. He's 0 for 5. Higgins to the rim, put it up over Looney, missed it. And Looney can't corral the rebound. It hit the baseline. And it stays with the Braves with 2:12 left in the half.
And we were wondering earlier who could guard Higgins, but I think we found the case here. Aiden Looney doing a pretty good job of sticking it to him.
He's got size, he's got athleticism. Higgins is going to win the strength battle against anybody. He might be the strongest man in the building. Smith, a wild fadeaway shot over Donahue is good. Boy, that's a tough shot by Smith, and he got it to go. 3-point Brebeuf lead. Lob to Asher. He's in a double team. Turn and face on Bevelheimer. Backs, step through, and he missed the finger roll. Here comes McMullen on a push. Dribble handoff to Higgins. Foul line jumper is around and off and rebounded by Asher. Inside 100 seconds to go, first half. Rebels down 3. Stop and go drive by Lynch to the bucket, up and in with the left hand.
And Carson Lynch, only 5'11", they're still able to blow past all the defenders to get to the bucket.
That's kind of become his patented move, that hesitation drive with either hand. In deep, Higgins. Found underneath the bucket. He was by himself on a find from Smith. That's too easy. Higgins has 5 in the quarter, 6 in the game. Back to a 3-point Brebeuf lead. 109 left in the half. 23-20 the score. Donahue, 3 out front for the tie. Bang! He got it. Second triple of the night for AD. We're tied at 23.
Maybe the biggest 3 all game so far.
He's hit both Rebel threes here in the quarter. 23-23. Each team with fouls to give. Smith loads up a 3 the other way. That's off the front of the rim. Alertly, Higgins first to the offensive rebound out to McMullen for 3. That's no good, off the top of the backboard as it takes a high hop and goes back to the Rebels on the dead ball.
And with the tie here, the Rebels have a chance to take the lead going into the half if they're able to hold it here for the almost 40 seconds, 39.5 to be exact.
Well, after the 5-point first quarter where the Rebels struggled offensively, who would have thought that would be in play?
Not me.
Brebeuf has fouls to give, 2 to be exact, in the final 25 seconds of the half. Asher gives to Felmuth on the far side. Thomas holds to Asher, top of the key. Over to Lynch, far sideline with 15 to go. Carson looks back to his left at the bench in the play call. Carson drives on Ezel, had it poked free out of bounds off the inline. It stays with the Rebels. 7 and 2/10 seconds to go.
This inbound play might be an easy ticket into the post.
Nick Spearing hustling in for Lynch. And it's Nick on the inbounds. 7 and 2/10 to go. Lob to Looney at the foul line. Tried to throw it in the post. Deflected out to the timeline, and Donahue. Donahue fading. Right side, he's fouled, shooting a jump shot with 0.2 of a second to go. Had to force it up as time was not on his side, but Smith a little too aggressive on the closeout, fouls Donahue. And Anthony was fouled in the act, so he has 2 free throws with a chance to give the Rebels the lead.
Big free throws here.
0.2 of a second left in the half. First one up, in. Donahue 7 in the quarter, 9 in the game.
And I'm not sure that one even hit the net.
It did not.
Went right through.
One more for Donahue. Measures, fires, in and out. Bevelheimer rebounds well after the whistle. And that'll do it. So Donahue's free throw, he splits the pair, but that's enough to give the Rebels the lead into the halftime break as Roncalli outscores Brebeuf Jesuit in the quarter 19-9 to take a 24-23 lead on the Beck Service Center scoreboard. Stay tuned, we'll step out for 60 seconds and come back, and when we do, we'll have all the particulars on tonight's Indiana Members Credit Union halftime show. Coming up next on the Ascension St. Vincent Rebel Media Network. Rob Brown, Henry Meinerding back with you on the Indiana American Credit Union halftime show. Roncalli leads Brebeuf Jesuit by the score of 24-23. Let's look at how the first half unfolded. Rebels scored a season first quarter low of 5 points in the first quarter and trailed 14-9 at the end of one. A 9-point Brebeuf Jesuit lead was its biggest of the night. Rebels began the quarter on a 5-0 run, took their first lead of the game at 18-17 on a Thomas Felmuth pull-up jump shot. Brebeuf got the lead quickly back, but the Rebels scored the final 4 points of the quarter. An Anthony Donahue three and then a free throw with 0.2 of a second to go put the Rebels up 24-23, which is where we stand right now. It was a 19-9 Rebel advantage in the quarter. Solid second quarter, Henry, by the Rebels, got him back in it, but this is going to be a tight one, I think, in this second half, just like we thought it would be.
We talked before the game about how the Rebels were a fourth quarter team. It's definitely going to need to come tonight, and I think that this crowd can carry them through it. Some energy has proven to show itself over the last couple games, and I think they need to use it here in the second half.
Rebels led by Anthony Donahue, has 9 points to lead all scorers. 6 points apiece for Evan Altman and Jay Higgins to pace Brebeuf Jesuit here at the break, as the 4 Roncalli wrestlers who went to state last week being honored here at halftime, including the 2 state champions, the seniors Braden Lowry and Alec Viduya. We're going to take our first break here on the Indiana American Credit Union halftime show. We'll step out for 2 minutes. We come back. Henry's got your first half totals. Up next on the Ascension St. Vincent Rebel Media Network.
The halftime numbers for tonight's game: the Rebels, Anthony Donahue has 9, Aiden Looney with 4, Thomas Felmuth has 4, Carson Lynch has 2, and Daniel Asher has 5. They've hit 2 3-pointers and went 4 for 6 from the line. On the other end, Brebeuf, Evan Altman had 6, Jay Higgins with 6, Billy Smith with 5, Jaden McMullen had 4, and Alec Beverheimer had 2. The Braves made 1 3-pointer and went 2 for 6 from the line.
Roncalli's Rebels lead this ball game 24-23 at the break. We'll take our second and final break here in the Indiana American Credit Union halftime show. We'll step out for 2 minutes. When we come back, we'll have the third quarter around the bend up next on the Ascension St. Vincent Rebel Media Network.
With your phones or computers, considering video surveillance, contact Indy Teledata. They provide technology solutions to local businesses and organizations, including Roncalli High School. Indy Teledata is a proud supporter of Roncalli athletics and fine arts. For complete details, visit them at indyteledata.com. At Experience, a hair spa, they are dedicated to providing an unforgettable experience by exceeding your expectations through outstanding customer service and an ultimate focus on inner and outer beauty. Call 851-9212 to make an appointment today. Experience a hair spa, located at 8610 Madison Avenue.
Well, that's Henry Meyering. I'm Rob Brown. Happy to have you with us on a Friday night, the final Friday night of February. Sectional starts next Tuesday night. David Kahn is handling things for us in our CBS Sports 1430 studios on the north side, keeping us on track and on time. Great video crew with us tonight, providing you all the sounds and pictures on our YouTube feed. Ben Taylor, our director, Robert Story, and Riley Allstott, our camera operators. Sierra Atkins, our production assistant. Isaac Garnica, our graphics guy. Tonight, Stefan Welsh, our executive producer on the video side. Happy to, if you're joining us in that format, happy that you're watching us on YouTube this evening. Brebeuf Jesuit will have the ball to start the second half. And Rebels with a 19-9 second quarter able to take the lead into the halftime break. I don't think it was a coincidence, Henry. Daniel Asher got a lot of looks in that first quarter, right at the rim, couldn't get many to fall. He only got one to fall. Evan Altman picked up his second foul. He was largely responsible for contesting those shots at 6'5". Picked up his second foul late in the first quarter, did not play in the second quarter. And I think as a result, the Rebels had a lot more room to operate around the rim in that second period.
And we're going to see Altman come back here in the second half, of course. So maybe if you're the Rebels, try taking it to him again. It was the difference between the first and second quarter. You got to point out what it was. And if it was Evan Altman, then you got to find a solution.
So Brebeuf Jesuit has the ball to start the second half. Rebels break the huddle. And Lynch and Felma starting the second half alongside Donahue, Looney, and Asher. Brebeuf Jesuit sends out its original starting five of Higgins, Ezel, Smith, Bevelheimer, and Altman. Each team moving towards respective bench in this second half. For Brebeuf, that means, and what's the call? Matt Weldy blows the whistle. I don't think the clock started quickly enough for his liking. So they'll put it in again. Each team, as I mentioned, operating offensively toward their respective benches in this second half. For Brebeuf, that means left to right from our courtside vantage point. Toward the west goal. Bevelheimer, Ezel on the right wing, trying to find Altman in the block. It's not there. Back out front, Smith. He hit the lone Brebeuf three in the first half. That came in the first quarter. Takes the dribble handoff and handles top side. Ezel back to Smith. Drives on Felma to the baseline. Now Altman in the lane. Power dribble to the rim. Put it up and in over Asher. And the Braves back on top with the first bucket of the second half.
And Daniel did everything that he could have there. He was standing there with his hands up. Not much more you can do.
Asher top of the key looking inside. Not there. On the wing to Felmuth. Thomas tried to find Looney in the block. Bevelheimer was overplaying a little too aggressively in the eyes of Sean Harmon, and Bevelheimer whistled for a foul, his second. Team's first here in the half.
A good job there getting the ball into the post. You saw there that Aiden Looney was getting grabbed, and by throwing the ball down there, it drew the attention to it.
Asher doubled in the block. Somebody's open. Felmuth has it right arc as Brebeuf recovers defensively. Donahue ISO'd against Ezel on the wing. Out front, Looney. Aiden doubled, steps through it. Pass to Flex, but right to Donahue on the wing. He's in the lane, cut off by Higgins. Finds Asher on the baseline. Daniel shoveling Looney in the corner. 90 seconds gone here in the third quarter.
And the Rebels had to reset that one.
Lynch doubled too aggressively out front by Altman. And that's his third.
Not exactly sure what Altman was doing on that one. He kind of just ran out from the post and immediately made contact, almost looked intentional.
Felmuth inbounding, flips in the backcourt to Linge. Left side Donahue, looked at the three, now he's down the baseline, cut off on a double team. Finds Asher on a slip to the rim, blocked at the rim by Higgins, but a foul called. Boy, Asher tried to dunk it on him, and Higgins met him at the apex.
And we know that Daniel got that dunk last game. Maybe the confidence taking over into this game, but not the guy that you want to try and dunk on in this game.
That's 3 quick fouls on the Braves, team fouls. That could come back to get him here. Asher misses the first free throw. He is 3 out of 5 tonight.
And you could say on the bright side, at least Daniel did draw the foul on that one.
He did. Next one up ties the game. At 25, Asher with 6. 6:15 to go for third quarter. We're all tied at 25. Our second tie of the night. Bevelheimer, right of the arc, in the corner, Higgins. Finds Altman on a cut. Asher blocks the shot and a foul called. That's Asher's first foul. Team's first, but puts Altman at the line for 2. Altman is a 55% free throw shooter. First one on the way, too strong. The Braves are 2 out of 7 from the foul line. Rebels 5 out of 8.
And you'd think the way that Daniel's been playing so aggressively in the paint, he'd have more than 1 foul. Good job limiting his fouls there.
Second one is way too strong and rebounded by Donahue. So the Braves come up empty. We're still tied at 25. Looney out front. Finds Donahue on the right wing. Donahue dribbles to the corner to Linge. Carson looking inside, instead reverses to Felmuth. Thomas picked up by Altman on a switch. To the baseline, sidesteps him, missed the shot. Bevelheimer saves it underneath the hoop, and it goes off of Altman off the end line, stays with the Rebels.
And they got plenty of time here. No need to force up a shot. They got to take their time here and get a bucket. It's a tied ball game.
Well, Todd Howard subs Altman out with 3 fouls. Altman, their biggest player at 6'5", replaced by the 5'10" Jaden McMullen. Looney at the foul line catch. He backs on Higgins. Turns, hangs, shoots. Missed it, no good. Rebounded by Bevelheimer. Here come the Braves the other way. McMullen handles. Stop and go drive over Linge. Missed the runner, and Looney with a 2-hand rebound. Takes it up the floor himself. Met at the top of the key by Higgins. Try to find Asher in the lane. Looney, 3 for the lead, and it's too strong. Donahue rebounds. He fakes, waits, blocked by Bevelheimer. Got it back, put it up and in, and a foul called. No, a jump ball is called. And Sean Harmon waved that off. I think he waved off the first shot that Bevelheimer blocked.
Yeah, there were a lot of different ways that you could have called that one.
So a jump ball called. The Rebels have the arrow. So Linge inbounds. We're tied at 25. 3 minutes gone, third quarter. And Looney threw a pass through the fingers of Asher. Linge tried to save it, but threw it right to Higgins. Look away pass. Ezel up the wing. Put it up, put it in. So a Rebel turnover leads to a run out and a bucket by the Braves. They have a 2-point lead.
And it seems right now the first team to catch a run here is going to be the one that goes away with it.
Donahue drives Smith. Stop and go. In low. Blocked on the way up. Here come the Braves the other way. Higgins down the baseline. He's tied up on the way up. Bevelheimer gets it back out to McMullen. Michael wants a tie-up because that shot was tied up in the same fashion as it was at the other end and called the jump ball. Possession continues. Ezel fading away from the foul line. In and out. Took an extra hop on the rim. Looney taps it to himself. Up the floor, Donahue. At the left arc, waits. Down to Asher. Asher backing. In traffic, falling away. He missed the shot, but he was bumped.
Took a hard
Yeah, a couple defenders
there.
It's Higgins who takes the foul, his second. Team fourth. Asher shoots 2 more. Rebels are missing have yet to convert a field goal in this low-scoring third quarter. First free throw's no good. Luke Aller steps in for the first time tonight. 5'9" junior. Lynch has a seat. 3:53 to go here in the third. Rebels down 27-25. Free throw up, free throw in. Asher splits a pair as he did moments ago. Brebeuf holds the lead of 1, 27-26. 3:50 left in the third quarter. Higgins. Hands to Smith. Rebels switch defensively. Ezel has it high left. On the wing, McMullen. Higgins posting, and Felmuth fouled him on the catch. And Higgins having some words with Asher. Felmuth's foul, his second. Team second. Babb is in, replacing Asher. McMullen inbounds, baseline left. Out front to Bevelheimer. Higgins posting on Looney. And he traveled as he forced his way to the goal. Travel called. So Rebels down 1, get it back on the turnover. Brendan Wood is back in for Bevelheimer. Braves have played 2 off the bench tonight thus far, the Rebels 3. Luke Aller, who's just into the game for the first time, handles out front against McMullen. Luke into the forecourt, bounce to Babb at the elbow. Donahue out front, lob to Looney. He backs down, in a double, swings it across, through the hands of Aller and out of bounds.
It's just an unfortunate pass there. If that connects, that would be an easy bucket for Aller, but
yeah, he was spotting up.
It's an across-court pass. It won't fall every time.
The good thing about that is it's an out of bounds, so it gives you a chance to set up your defense, not a live ball turnover. Higgins on the roll, puts it up over Babb, too strong, got his own rebound, put it up, blocked from behind, and a foul called. But Looney got him on the body. That could have been Babb's fourth. Instead, it's Looney's second, team's third, and Higgins shoots 2 more.
The Rebels are doing such a good job at giving him no easy buckets. He's everything they needed to stop tonight, and they're doing the best they can.
Higgins is 2 for 4 so far tonight from the free throw line. First one on the way, good. 2:55 to go in the third. Rebels have managed just 2 points in the quarter, no field goals in the quarter. One more for Higgins, with the Braves up 2. Second one up, second one in. Higgins has 8, and the lead is 3, 29-26. Aller, played by McMullen out near the timeline too tightly. McMullen's foul, his first, and the team's 5th. The Braves running out of fouls to give here. They just have 1 more, and the Rebels will be in the bonus the rest of the way.
It's a situation they wanted to be in. We said it before the game. Shooting free throws is something that the Rebels need to do this game.
Aller to the bucket, fouled on the way by McMullen.
On the floor.
On the floor, but that's team foul 6, and now the next Brebeuf foul will put the Rebels in the bonus for the rest of the game. And we still have 2:40 to go in the third quarter.
It's going to be a lot of free throws coming.
Yeah, I think if you're the Rebels, though, you got to go to the basket and get that 7th foul.
Definitely.
Aller on the inbound, throws it right to Ezel.
And that's not what you wanted to happen.
Rebels back defensively as the Braves walk it up. 2.5 to go, third quarter. Rebels trail by 3, 29-26. McMullen drives into a double team, leans and missed the shot. Babb up over it. Higgins grabs the rebound.
Took a Rebel friendly roll off the rim there.
Felmuth on the far side, gets a screen. Pull up over Wood. That rolls off the rim, and the rebound grabbed by Higgins. Higgins quickly into the lane, goes behind the back with the dribble, not there. Smith drives, on his way to the rim. He flipped it in, but a foul called. Prior to the shot, fouls on Donahue, his first, and the team's fourth. Asher's back in for the Rebels, as is Lynch. Looney and Aller have a seat. 1:55 to go in the third. Rebels trail by 3. 29-26. Higgins hands to Smith for 3. That's way short. And the long rebound is tapped and controlled by Asher.
Great rebound.
Gives to Lynch. Donahue, right side 3 for the tie. That's long. Rebound, though, knocked off the inline. Last touched by the Braves. That's Wood that got it last. Here comes Bevelheimer back into the game for the Braves. This would be a season low for points in the quarter for the Rebels.
But they're alive. They're only down 3.
Lob to Asher on the inbound at the foul line, played by Higgins. Lynch out to get it. 1:35 left in the third. Rebels down 3. Lynch, top of the key, Felmuth. Left side, Babb. He's bumped by Ezel. Babb 3 for the tie. Bang! He banked it in! Matthew Babb's first 3 of the season. He banks it in. It's a tie game.
The amount of confidence in that man
Oh,
to
my.
look at the floor, see the defender down there and decide, I'm going to shoot this, and then bank it in.
He was 0 for 1. Smith driving kick to Bevelheimer. He's to the rim. He put it up. It rolled off. Higgins taps the rebound to himself. Back out to Bevelheimer. The possession continues. Bevelheimer drives, runner up,
Good
off.
defense.
And Babb has the rebound knocked free. And Higgins on a nice find from Bevelheimer lays it in. That's nice hustle by the Braves to stay with it.
And Higgins just stayed back there, almost cherry-picked while everyone else was out of the action. Left everyone alone and was able to get the easy bucket.
Rebels down 2. Final 35 seconds of the third quarter. Lynch in the right corner. Finds Babb at the elbow. Spot up jumper. He got it again. Matthew Babb feeling it right now.
He's heating up.
Third tie of the quarter. 20 seconds left here in the third. McMullen dangerously near the timeline. He almost stepped on the timeline. Higgins holds. Out near the timeline with 9. Puts it on the deck with 8. Down the lane. Spinning in a double team. Puts up a shot. No. Bevelheimer puts it up and in just before the horn, and that'll do it. So the Braves take a 2-point lead. 33-31. Into the final 8 minutes. We'll take a break and come right back. Fourth quarter around the bend up next on the Ascension St. Vincent Rebel Media Network.
Roncalli High School serves over 1,100 students in a nurturing atmosphere that promotes academic, social, and spiritual growth in the Catholic tradition. Roncalli has been recognized 3 times as a Blue Ribbon School of Excellence. Roncalli High School, preparation for life.
This game has been everything we thought it would be. 2-point Brebeuf lead as we head to the final quarter. Braves have the ball. Anthony Donahue has 9 points to lead the Rebels, 8 points apiece for Evan Altman and Jay Higgins. For the Braves, Brebeuf outscored the Rebels 10-7 in that third quarter. Braves with the ball. Bevelheimer handoff to Higgins. McMullen high left. Back to Higgins out between the circles. Altman's back in for the Braves. Out there with McMullen, Smith, Higgins, and Bevelheimer. McMullen right arc against Lynch. Rebels counter with Lynch, Babb, Looney, Asher, and Donahue. Smith on the far side. Babb forces him out near the timeline, and he traveled. Yep. Matthew Babb has impacted this game off the bench. He scored the last 5 Rebel points.
Yeah, as of the last 3 minutes of basketball here, Matt Babb, otherwise known as Jib, has been the MVP.
He's got it top of the key. Finds Lynch on the right side. Rebels trail by 2. Babb, pump fakes at the top. Spins, bounce to Lynch in low. He put it up, no, but he's fouled. On the shot by McMullen. That's McMullen's 3rd, but more importantly, team foul 7, so the Rebels in the bonus for the final 7:01.
And they got the right guy at the line, too. Carson Lynch, 77% on the year.
Carson shoots 2 with the Rebels down 2. First one on the way, got it. Carson with 3 points tonight. One more on the way, that one's good as well. Carson's tied the game. 33-33, 7 minutes to go. Great crowd here on a Friday night for the final regular season game of 2019-2020. Higgins stop and go drive, leaves in the corner for McMullen. He attacks Lynch in the lane, and Carson called for a hand check. Rebels had fouls to give, though. That's the team's 5th. Falmouth's back in for Donahue. Higgins out to Bevelheimer. Higgins handles, drives, kicks to McMullen. No space for him to drive against Lynch, so he backs the dribble out.
We're seeing the Rebels slowing down Brebeuf's offense here by a large margin. It used to be really quick and fast-paced, but the Rebels are doing a good job here of making them.
Cross-court skips deflected. Looney runs down the loose ball, waits for reinforcements. Finds Asher in the corner. Falmouth 3 for the lead. That's short. Rebound Altman with nice position on Babb. Takes the rebound the other way. That's a good look. McMullen cut off by Lynch on a drive. Braves reset. 6 minutes to go. We're tied at 33.
I was going to say earlier that the Rebels are doing a good job of making Brebeuf make some passes that are tougher to make rather than just dribbling inside the post.
Dumped down and deflected back out. Altman got it back. Now Bevelheimer into Higgins. Catching a triple team. Threw it off the bottom of the backboard. No call. Here comes Lynch the other way. Rebels looking for a hoop in the lead. Looney. Reverse to Falmouth. Thomas down to Babb in the block against McMullen. Turns, shoots, put it up and in. Offensive foul taken away. 4th on Babb. He lowered the shoulder. That's a good call. Babb's 4th. He checks out. 5 big points for Matthew at the end of the 3rd quarter.
Just a little eager to get the bucket that time.
So 16 foul on the Rebels, 4th on Babb. Higgins, I think, got hit in the face in that shot in traffic on the last Brebeuf offensive possession. He's still trying to blink away the cobwebs a little bit. 33-33 is our score. Brebeuf with the basketball, 5:10 to go. Bevelheimer flares out top, holds it above his head, top of the circle. Gives on the wing to Higgins. Finds Altman. In the corner, Ezel. Drives on Lynch. No space there. Back out to Smith. Both teams very deliberate. Brebeuf more so here in this second half. Altman gives far side to Bevelheimer. He leaves for Smith out near the timeline. Higgins comes to get it. 4:44 left. Tied at 33. Smith, Bevelheimer. Right side Higgins. Ball to Ezel on the wing. Stop and go drive. Bevelheimer kills his dribble and unloads to Smith rather. Higgins resets on the wing. Gets a high screen from Smith. Rebels double that up. Bevelheimer. Pass deflected. But Smith gets it in the lane. Kicks it back out to Bevelheimer. He's in the paint. His scoop shot is blocked by Looney and a foul called with 4:09 to go. Braves have not scored yet in this quarter. That's the third foul on Looney, 7th on the Rebels.
Well, at this rate, they're only going to have about 7 possessions in the entire quarter.
Bevelheimer's a 42% free throw shooter. First one in and out. He's 0 for 3 tonight. That's not a bad foul, given who's shooting.
Not by any means.
One more for Bevelheimer, trying to break the tie, and he got the roll. He has 7, does Bevelheimer. Came in averaging 3.5. Braves on top, 34-33, halfway through the final quarter. Looney flares out to get it left wing. Felmuth, top of the key against Higgins. Down to Asher. In a double team, hook shot off the glass, up and in. And the Rebels have the lead back. First lead in the second half for the Rebels.
And that's what happens when you don't jump and you're guarding Daniel Asher. He's just going to take it right over you.
35-34. Ezel drives on Lynch. Out front, Smith for 3. That's good. Their best three-point shooter. And that's their first 3 since the first quarter. Smith hit that one as well. Micah Watts would like a full timeout. We'll go ahead and take a full break as well. Stepping out for 30 seconds. Rebels down 2. 37-35, 3:27 left. From Roncalli, we're back after this on the Ascension St. Vincent Rebel Media Network. Brown, Henry Minerding, back with you at the Ascension St. Vincent Gymnasium on the campus of Roncalli High School. Brebeuf leads Roncalli 37-35. What a game we've had for you tonight. 6 lead changes, 5 ties. Rebel ball out of the timeout.
The fans have got their money's worth. It's everything that a fan could have wanted tonight.
No question. Donahue inbounding on the near sideline just to the left of our vantage point.
About 2 feet away.
2 feet away from Henry here at the scores table. Goes in the backcourt to Lynch. One-hand pass to Felmuth at the right arc. Looney, long 2 out front. Off the rim, rebounded by Ezel. Here comes Higgins up the floor to Altman. Ezel drives on Lynch. Shovel to Altman, who wasn't ready for it. Back out front, Bevelheimer. He's a non-shooter, Bevelheimer. Smith drives on Donahue. Ezel in the corner, down the baseline. He's hand-checked by Lynch. Second foul on Carson, 8th on the Rebels, so 1-1 for Ezel, who is a 47% free throw shooter. .257 left, Brebeuf up 2. Ezel, the junior, shoots a 1-1. The left-hander. On the way, good, rattled it home. 38-35. Rebels down 3, .257 left. One more for Ezel, spins the basketball. Second one on the way, that one's good. 4 points for Ezel. And the lead is 4. Biggest Brebeuf lead since the first quarter.
Rebs can't let it get to him.
Lange in the left corner. Back out to Looney. Looney holds. Left arc. Threw it right to Altman, who overplayed in the post. Higgins walks it up. Now Brebeuf might get a little deliberate here. Up 4 with 2.5 minutes to go. Rebels need a turnover. Ezel as the Rebels come in double, and Todd Howard wants time. 30-second timeout will stay here. 2:22 left in this one, and Brebeuf leads Roncalli 39-35.
Marion University asks, what are you made of? Find out now by filling out an application. It's free and it takes less than 15 minutes. Visit them at marion.edu. Go Knights.
Well, we saw this, Henry, in the first quarter when the Rebels struggled to score and scored a season-low 5 points. They've managed just 4 points so far here in this quarter and just 1 field goal.
It's all but over, though. Only down 4.
Brebeuf with the ball, 2:22 left, and a 4-point lead. Ezel inbounding in forecourt near sideline. McMullen has returned for the Braves, replacing Bebelheimer. Getting another ball handler on the floor. Ezel down the block. He drives on Looney, pull up in the lane is too strong, and the rebound grab by Lynch.
He was wide open on that one.
He got a really good look. 2 minutes to go, Rebels down 4. Lynch picked up his dribble, finds Looney top of the key. Aiden looks, gets to Donahue. Donahue dribble handoff to Lynch. 1:45 to go. Rebels down 4. Donahue curling in lane, jump stop into traffic, put it up and in.
That's a big basket right there.
39-37, Rebels down 2, 90 seconds to go. Both teams in the bonus. Ezel. See how long the Rebels defend before they come out and foul. Down 2. Higgins out near the volleyball line. Handoff and timeout called. McMullen almost traveled. Todd Howard calls a 30-second timeout right as McMullen was about to travel in a double team. 30-second timeout will stay here. Actually, let's go ahead and since we're just past the top of the hour, we'll go ahead and pause 10 seconds quickly for this station identification, reminding you you're listening to Roncalli Rebels basketball on the Ascension St. Vincent Rebel Media Network. With Henry Meinering, I'm Rob Brown. David Kahn at our CBS Sports 1430 studios, keeping us on track and on time up on the north side of Indianapolis, as David is prone to do. Happy to have you alongside on a Friday night. Brebeuf inbounding with a 2-point lead. Looney almost got a deflection. McMullen, the best free throw shooter on the floor at 77%. Gets a high screen, Rebels hedge that. Minute to go. Brebeuf, McMullen almost stepped on the timeline, picked up his dribble. Now gives to Ezel, and Looney fouls him with 48 and 7/10 seconds to go.
2. Or draw a foul.
That one is good as good again. He's at 4 in a row to his credit. 41-37, the lead back to 4.
That means he's going to miss the next 4, right?
Right. Lynch up the floor quickly. Gets a high screen from Looney. No space to drive, so he backs it out and hands to Donahue. Donahue to the bucket. Put it up, and it rimmed out. Got his own rebound, and he's tossed to the floor. 30 and 7/10 left. Rebels down 4. One more for Donahue. On the way. That one's good. 3-point game. 41-38. Altman to Higgins. Pass deflected, and Ezel has it. He's fouled in the backcourt by Thelmuth with 26 and 3/10 left. Foul is on Babb, his 5th. He's fouled out. And that's the 10th. That's the 10th team foul, so Ezel gets 2 here. Donahue is back in for Babb. Or Looney, I should say, back in for Babb. So Ezel shoots 2 with the Rebels down 3. 26 and 3/10 seconds to go. Ezel has hit 4 in a row. First one up, good. He's made 5 in a row. Came in a 47%er. So the lead back to 4. Can make it 5 with the second one here. One more for Ezel. That one is no good. Rebounded by Felmuth. Rebels need to get up the floor in a hurry, down 4. Looney to the bucket against Bevelheimer. Put it up too strong. Rebound tap loose. Felmuth saves it to Asher. Timeout called. Rebels get a timeout with 13 and 1/10 left. Well, this one has been everything that we thought it would. We thought we'd have a close, hard-fought game, and it's been just that. Rebels trail by 4. 42-38, 13 and 1/10 seconds to go. Thomas Felmuth inbounding on the sideline, but in a tough spot below the foul line extended. That's kind of been known as the dead man's corner. Rebels do have timeouts left, so if they get a bucket here, quick timeout to stop the clock.
The window is closing, though.
You don't need a 3, but you need something quick. Asher gives to Looney. He attacks the bucket. He put it up and in, and he drew the foul. That's a best-case scenario with 9 and 9/10 to go. Fouls on Bevelheimer, his third. So Looney's bucket makes it a 2-point game. Free throw here can make it a 1-point game. Michael Wantz says, I'm calling a timeout if it goes in. Looney, free throw up, got it, timeout. So Aiden Looney's 3-point play, 30-second timeout will stay here. Let's go ahead and set the scenario for you here. So Aiden Looney's 3-point play makes it a 1-point game. 42-41 with 9 and 9/10 seconds to go. Rebels have 1 timeout remaining. Brebeuf has plenty, 3 I believe. The possession arrow favors the Rebels. Both teams in the double bonus. So, Henry, you would assume the strategy here is you play for a steal on the inbounds, and if you don't get it within a second or 2, you got to wrap up.
You got to foul immediately.
And we're too deep into the game where you can be choosy as to who you foul. You just have to foul who has the ball.
Exactly. No matter what here, even if they make both free throws, it's still going to be a 3-point game, which is enough for the Rebels to tie it up if they can make it 3 on the other end. Either way, there's still hope.
And McMullen is the best free throw shooter at 77%, so you want to deny him the basketball.
Ideally, you want to deny everyone the basketball.
Yes, exactly. Higgins inbounds. Brebeuf has to go the length of the floor. He can run the baseline after the made free throw. Rebels do not contest. Higgins gets it into Smith, and Donahue fouls him immediately. 1.1 slipped off the clock.
Smith's not a great free throw shooter here. He averages 58% on the year.
Which is surprising because he's such a great three-point shooter.
Yeah.
He's a 40% three-point shooter, high volume.
Sometimes the longer distance just works better.
As you mentioned, Henry, even if he makes 2, it's a 3-point game. First one up, good. Brebeuf has made free throws in this quarter. So far, 7 out of 10. One more for Smith, trying to make it a 3-point game. Second one up, good. 3-point game, timeout Rebels. Last timeout. Full timeout, we'll go ahead and take one. 3-point game. Rebels trail by 3. 8 and 8/10 seconds to go. We'll come right back on the Ascension St. Vincent Rebel Media Network. Rob Brown, Henry Meinerding back with you at the Ascension St. Vincent Gymnasium. 9/10 of a second to go. Brebeuf has the basketball and a 1-point lead.
If the Rebels can force a 5-second violation here, then they get the ball back.
Braves have a timeout left. Smith with a heave to the other end. Asher catch the heave off the backboard, and that'll do it. From deep in the backcourt. And Brebeuf comes in to Roncalli on senior night and hands the Rebels a 1-point loss. 44-43, our final score. The final regular season game of this 19-20 season. We'll step out, pause, take a quick break, come back, total everything up, tell you all about it on tonight's Steve's Flowers and Gifts post-game show. Coming up next on the Ascension St. Vincent Rebel Media Network. Well, Rob Brown and Henry Meinerding back with you on the Steve's Flowers and Gifts postgame show. Roncalli's Rebels drop a 44-43 decision to Brebeuf Jesuit on senior night here at the Ascension St. Vincent Gymnasium. Let's look at how the game unfolded. Rebels trailed 14-5 after one quarter. It was the lowest scoring quarter of the season for the Rebels. But a strong second quarter, what turned out to be the strongest offensive quarter of the night. Roncalli with a 19-9 advantage in the second quarter, and as much as the Rebels struggled offensively, Henry, in that first quarter, they were so fluid and efficient in the second quarter.
Yeah, and we've seen it throughout the year. We see the Rebels hot and cold throughout quarters. A lot of times it's resulted in, I mean, we're 10-10, so we've seen it result in wins. We've seen it result in losses for the Rebels. Tonight just ended up being a loss.
Well, the Rebels took a 24-23 lead into the halftime break. And we had three ties and a lead change in the third quarter. Brebeuf outscored the Rebels 10-7 in the third quarter, and as a result, took a 33-31 lead into the final 8 minutes. Rebels grabbed the lead. It will be the last lead of the night on a bucket by Thomas, a jump hook by Daniel Asher with 3:51 to go. That made it 35-34. Rebels would pull back to within one late on an Aiden Looney three-point play at 42-41 with 9 9/10 left. But from that point on, though, Henry, the Rebels had to give a foul. They did. Brebeuf hit 2 free throws. Rebels down 3 with 9 seconds to go. Pushed it up the floor, passed up the 3 and took the layup, but there was just not enough time left to make anything happen and trigger another possession because Rebels were out of timeouts, had to knock the ball away, and once they did, there was just 9/10 of a second to go and just not enough time to make anything happen.
I think it's one of those situations where you don't really know the exact time that's on the clock. When you're driving, you can just kind of guess. So he might have thought there might have been 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds on the clock, but instead decided to take the 2 because he wasn't aware of the exact time. So I think that's what happened there.
Well, the Rebels were outscored Brebeuf in the quarter 12-11, but the Braves come in and with the win tonight, win here at Roncalli for the first time since December 20th of 2002. Rebels led by Anthony Donahue. He's the lone Rebel in double figures. He had 12. Billy Smith was the lone Brave in double figures. The sophomore shooting guard, he had 10. We'll take our first and only break here on the Steve Flowers and Gifts postgame show. When we come back, we'll run down tonight's scoring totals. We will hand out our player of the game. We hope to talk to Rebel head coach Michael Wantz as well. All that coming up after this 60-second pause on the Ascent St. Vincent Rebel Media Network. Rob Brown and Henry Meinering back for the final time here on the Steve's Flowers and Gifts postgame show. We're joined now on the postgame show by Rebel head coach Michael Wantz as Brebeuf defeats the Rebels tonight by the score of 44-43. Coach, first of all, we'll work backwards, but let's go right to that last possession. Down 3 with 8 seconds and change to go. What was the first option coming out of that timeout?
Well, we're going to try and set a flare for Anthony. I don't mind taking the 2 in that spot, but you got to take the delay of game. You can't just set and watch the ball bounce. So we just got to have more awareness. We lined up wrong. I had just drawn it up on the board. We lined up wrong in our double stack. We want to get Carson going to his right, so everything was set up thinking the ball would be going for the right. So we just.
Don't forget Rebels freshman and sophomore. We've got a big gym jam going on right now over the woodshed.
10 seconds for some reason.
The gym jam in the woodshed.
Well, when in that second quarter, the second quarter was the most efficient offensive quarter you had. What were you doing in that second quarter that didn't maybe unfold in the other 3?
I don't know. We made a couple shots. Hit the back rim there and went in. And, we were doing it really. Asher just had 2 free throws that quarter. So Thomas got going a little bit. Aiden was aggressive. We score 19 in that quarter and only score 19 in the rest of the second half. So just disappointing. Guys always battle, but we've just got to have more clarity or more concentration there in the last 10 seconds or so.
Well, the quick turnaround, you come back Tuesday night. As you look at the practices that you've got between tomorrow and Monday, what are the things that you look to focus on as you get into the sectional on Tuesday night?
Yeah, I think we got to figure out how we can score against Pike and their pressure. So we'll work on some offensive stuff and try and work on spreading them out a little bit and finding some lanes to drive and score.
Your defense looked pretty sharp tonight, but offensively there were times where you were off offensively, but defensively you looked pretty sharp tonight.
Yeah, we guarded. We did a nice job. Coach Brown did a great job with their scout, and he was yelling out about everything they were doing. I thought we rebounded for the most part. I think we over-pursued on 22 one time there. Bevelheimer, who's definitely a driver, and let him get in there and probably get one he shouldn't. But no, you're right. We guarded. Geez, you should win a game if you hold them to 44. And if you're only scoring 43, you're putting yourself in a really tough spot to win.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking a few minutes for us, and we'll catch up with you at Southport on Tuesday night.
All right, guys, thanks.
That's Rebels head coach Michael Wantz. We appreciate him taking a few minutes for us here on the Steve's Flowers and Gifts post-game show. We're going to go ahead and stay here, and Henry is going to run down tonight's totals.
For the Rebels tonight, Anthony Donahue had 12, Aiden Looney had 7, Thomas Felmuth had 6, Carson Lynch had 4, Daniel Asher had 9, and Matt Babb had 5. The Rebels made 3 3-pointers and went 10 for 15 from the line. For the Braves, Austin Ezell had 7, Evan Altman with 8, Jay Higgins with 8, Billy Smith had 10, Jaden McMullen had 4, and Alec Belvenheimer had 7. The Braves made 2 3-pointers and went 12 for 20 from the line.
Well, we turn our attention now to our player of the game, brought to us by Ortho Indy. A couple different ways we could go with that one, but Henry, we're going to go with Anthony Donahue, the Rebels' leading scorer tonight. The junior had 12 points, hit 2 of the 3 Rebel threes, and the leading scorer on the team coming in. He was tonight's leading scorer, but Rebels got some good contributions for some others as well, but just as you said during our talk with Coach, that just the offense was just fighting upstream all night except for that second quarter.
Definitely something that you have to look into. Going into the sectional, it's definitely something that you have to worry about. You got to get your offense going before you go into playoff competition, because a lot of times they'll say defense wins championships, but defense won't win championships if there's no offense included.
So Anthony Donahue, he's tonight's Ortho Indy star of the game.
At Ortho Indy, their mission is to provide the highest quality, comprehensive bone, joint, spine, and muscle care to patients throughout the Midwest, the United States, and around the world. From diagnosis to recovery, their team is ready to get you back in action. Choose Ortho Indy to be your official orthopedic provider.
Well, we update the records now. The Rebels finished the regular season with 10-11 record, 6-4 here at home. Meanwhile, Brebeuf closes out the regular season with a 4-game winning streak, 15-6 in a conference championship, and a 6-4 road record. Brebeuf with the win improves its advantage in the all-time series to 38-21. Rebels still have won a majority of the games here at Roncalli. Rebels 14-12, the all-time advantage here. Well, Brebeuf, like Roncalli, will be back at it on Tuesday night in the sectional, taking on Garin Catholic at Shortridge. Rebels will be at it on Tuesday night as well from Southport, the host of the sectional, and the sectional field is Roncalli, Pike, Ben Davis, Southport, Perry Meridian, and Decatur Central. Rebels playing the 6 o'clock game on Tuesday night at Southport against Pike. Southport and Ben Davis will follow us. It'll be the first time ever that the two programs have met in the postseason. Pike leads the all-time series 3-0. All 3 of those games played in the county tournament. So a quick turnaround, Henry, for the Rebels on Tuesday. And it's a Pike team that, despite its 14-9 record, the Red Devils have lost 5 in a row, so they don't come in with a whole bunch of momentum. Be interesting to see how that unfolds on Tuesday night.
Yeah, and talking to some of the guys throughout, like, Roncalli hallways and stuff, a lot of them have said that, yeah, it's Pike, but it's not the same Pike team that we usually see. So definitely beatable if Roncalli can continue the energy that they had against FC. And I think they showed good sparks of energy tonight. Definitely got to carry that over.
Well, we'll have that game for you on CBS Sports 1430 and the Rebel Media Network. Henry and I will be alongside for that one. We'll have the pregame show at 5:45. Note the earlier start time, and a 6 o'clock tip for that one on Tuesday night. Tonight's ball game has been a production of the Rebel Media Network. The executive producer is Gary Armbruster. Our technical director is Darla Coop. Our network producer, Mr. Cole Dunbar. Our in-studio producer at our CBS Sports 1430 flagship is Mr. David Kahn, doing a great job as always, keeping us on track and on time. Our great video crew tonight, Ben Taylor, our director, our camera operators, Robert Story and Riley Allstott, our production assistant, Sierra Atkins, and our graphics man, Isaac Garnica, and our video producer, Stefan Welsh, all doing a great job bringing you tonight's sound and pictures on YouTube. Well, thank you so much for listening. Again, our final tonight from Roncalli. Brebeuf defeats the Rebels by the score of 44-43. Till we talk to you next time, on behalf of our entire Rebel Media Network crew, it's been Rob Brown saying so long, everybody. All right, David. Thanks, dude. We'll talk.